Protests are now ongoing outside of many different Tesla showrooms. Protests against Elon Musk in buying a new Tesla. Is this the start of larger, widespread brand destruction by Elon Musk? Is this something you should worry about as a Tesla investor, or could this actually be positive when all things are said and done for Tesla? It is currently being reported that there is now a recession in Washington, D.C., as initial jobless claims are spiking as the swamp is being drained. Home prices have actually fallen over $100,000, and the amount of listings are soaring. Many different firms and funds have bought Tesla in their latest 13F filings. We have some new ones to share with you, as well as some well-known investing figures that you have heard of before. All of this and much more in today's video. But first things first, I can't go on with this video without mentioning only about 50% of you guys are subscribed to this channel. If you want to do your part in pushing out these videos to as many people as possible, which, trust me, they need to hear this, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. First and foremost, before we get into all of that exciting news that I previously mentioned, Tesla is now offering Model S all-wheel drive buyers in the US a one paid option for free if you purchase FSD outright for $8,000. The highest price option configured will be complimentary when FSD is added to your order. This means you can get the $4,500 wheels or the $2,500 lunar silver paint color for free if you add FSD. This is the same promotion that Tesla has been offering on the Model X all-wheel drive for many months. And now it seems like Tesla is extending this to the Model S, which buying FSD outright for $8,000 is almost 100% margins. We estimate they're 90-ish% net margins, and well, that does a lot for profitability at Tesla. This is also in addition to free lifetime supercharging that you get already with the purchase of a new Model S. Tesla is now offering demo test drives for the new Model Y in Austin and Dallas, Texas. Speaking of Austin, Texas, there is an Elon Musk protest happening outside of one of the showrooms in Austin, Texas. I mean, you really just can't make this up. I don't know if these people are paid or what. Or perhaps this is the 1% of people that believe we should actually be sending $50 million worth of condoms to Africa, or funding Sesame Street in Iraq, or many of the other outlandish projects that we have funneled hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars into in the last couple decades. Because I think 99% of Americans have a logical brain that works and can put two and two together and figure out that that makes no sense when you have vets that are homeless and teachers that are underpaid and cops that are, well, even worse. I mean, this seems like common sense to me. And you can see on that note, New York City also has protests occurring outside of a Tesla showroom. The only reason I know this is New York is because you could see NYPD on these cops' hats. So not only just Austin, Texas, New York, and I'm sure this is going on in other areas. This is leading some family members of Tesla investors to contact them and tell them to sell all of their Tesla stock before it goes to zero because of Elon Musk and the, well, corruption, fraud, and wasteful spending that they are exposing and doing away with. And, well, some people are taking this to the extreme. And honestly, I've seen this on X more times than I would like to admit, that Elon Musk is somehow creating damages to Tesla's brand that Tesla can never recover from. And I think people just see one side of things. The Wolf of Wall Street taught us one thing: all publicity is good publicity, because it's publicity and it's being talked about by people that may have otherwise not been talking about Tesla. That's the first thing that I will offer you. The second thing is Tesla's almost too big to fail, in the sense of their product is far superior from other products. If you are truly angry at Elon, what is your other alternative? To get a lesser product for a higher price point? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And most people are quietly still going to go out and buy that Tesla. Imagine the walk of shame, if you will, if you are protesting outside of one of these facilities and then you got to go in and buy a Tesla because you really don't have any other viable alternatives. I would also argue something else that I have seen not one person argue, that Elon Musk taking a more right side approach to politics. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of this is neutral. A lot of people on both sides can agree with what Elon is doing. Even Barack Obama, that loves the work that Doge is doing. I mean, listen to this.
Budget reform is not an option. It's a necessity.
The American people are entitled to transparency.
We can't sustain a system that bleeds billions of taxpayer dollars on programs that have outlived their usefulness or exist solely because of the power of politicians, lobbyists, or interest groups.
They're entitled to be able to figure out where their dollars are going, and they're entitled to accountability to make sure that we're using the dollars for what we said it was for.
I mean, that does sound pretty bipartisan to me. And in fact, Elon Musk taking this approach could actually be boosting Tesla's brand penetration, maybe in a demographic that otherwise would not have looked to support Elon or support Tesla or buy an EV, maybe more conservatives, as I know a couple of them that are now interested in purchasing a Tesla. This could actually be a massive positive for the 1% of far leftists that believe spending American tax dollars in a reckless way and ruining our kids' and grandkids' futures, financially speaking, is a good thing. Well, those guys were never gonna, buy a Tesla anyways. They don't even matter necessarily for the Tesla story. What about the other people that say, okay, Elon is actually, doing something that I agree with here, which again is like 99% of common sense individuals. That is my argument that I would make, that this is not only publicity, but I would say actually good publicity for people that actually understand what's going on. Of course, if you read the headlines, Elon has your social security number and he's going to sell your data to China. That's apparently what the 1% believe. But for the other 99% of Americans, in which I have faith we all have some brain cells left, I think this could actually be, call me crazy, a positive for Tesla. Although I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a financial planner, and definitely not the best in politics, I could see the positive light at the end of the tunnel. And apparently so can many others. As I have reported here on this channel multiple times now, 13F filings are showing an increase of ownership in Tesla by some well-known firms, some well-known individuals, and just broadly speaking, a lot of smart money is buying the dip, including Stanley Druckenmiller with Deutsche, I don't know how to say that. Let me know down below in the comment section. His family office just bought $13 million worth of Tesla in Q4. Now, if you don't know who Stanley Druckenmiller is, one of the most well-known investors, he is known for managing funds and for his work with George Soros, and they famously shorted the pound in the 1990s and made a lot of money. He worked for George Soros from 1988 to 2000, managing the Quantum Fund. And he is currently the chairman and CEO of this family office. But it's also Vanguard that bought 3.57 million shares of Tesla in Q4. Charles Schwab that bought 780,000 shares of Tesla stock as well in Q4. And good old Goldman Sachs that bought 1.02 million shares of Tesla stock in 2020. In Q4. This was the biggest purchase since 2022. Goldman Sachs now owns 11.70 million shares, 0.36% of the entire company, and they have been adding exposure really for years in Tesla. Going back to Q3 of 2021, they only owned 7.69 million shares, but this is the biggest quarter-over-quarter increase in their ownership in Tesla, well, really forever. As I have also shared on this channel now countless times, but I think is vitally important, hedge funds and institutions are the most bullish on Tesla stock in the history of Tesla stock. Let's say that again, just one more time if you didn't catch it. Hedge funds and institutions, you know, the smart money, the suits with more information than we have. Like, let's be honest, big money is not smart. They are highly unintelligent, a lot of them. Some of the things they say, some of the clips I hear, some of the news that I watch of these guys speaking is absolutely just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But what they do have, and the one edge that they have against any retail investor, is they have more information. Okay? No matter what smart money you're talking about, if they are in the Tesla ecosystem, they have more information than we do. Why is that? Well, besides the $24,000 a year Bloomberg terminal, they also know people that know people, and they hear things. That's why this is, I think, so important to watch. Not that they are super intelligent. In fact, quite the opposite. I think probably 70-80% of you guys are smarter than big money, but they have more information. And they have been reducing their Tesla short positions as the stock has been falling. You are now sitting at 2.13% short interest of free float, the lowest in Tesla's history. It's never been lower than where it is today. As I have also reported on this channel many of times now, you are seeing some very bullish option activity as well in Tesla, even though the stock has been falling recently, including on Friday, where you had a $500 million worth of option activity with a positive order value of 85%. And again, just to put some numbers to this, Ray Dalio's firm bought $63 million worth of Tesla. Charles Schwab bought $270 million worth. Goldman Sachs bought $350 million. BlackRock bought $2.6 billion. Vanguard bought $1.3 billion. And Stanley Druckenmiller's family office, again, bought $13 million. Anything can happen here, but that 325 level could have been the low. And yes, I will be the first to acknowledge that you could see further downside from here, especially if the markets start to roll over, as a lot of people are growing concerned with. But for a lot of the outlandish comments that I see on Tesla videos and on X, you're going to need to see some kind of disaster to get Tesla to fall like materially below $300 per share. Like $300 per share, could you get to that level? Sure, that would take you back to where you were in November. But to really fall below that, you need some kind of disaster at Tesla. You need the new lower price models to be delayed indefinitely. You need to see Tesla's sales just completely plummeting. That's not happening. There's some big money investors out there that say, oh, China sales were down 30% in January and Europe was down like 60%. Dude, the new Model Y is coming. Anyone with two brain cells understands that, one, Tesla is producing less Model Ys right now. They're getting ready to produce more of the new Model Ys. And number two, you're not going to go out and buy the old version right before a new version comes out. This is like looking at iPhones and saying, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks before the iPhone 17 comes out, you're seeing a slump in demand for the iPhone 16. Of course you are. Of course. I mean, that's normal. That is supposed to happen. And it's kind of, probably because Elon is so polarizing, this kind of misinformation, if you will, gets spread. And the bear narratives can really just run wild with this stock. And that's why I think you get opportunities like we see today with Tesla stock $355 per share instead of $500 per share, where I think it logically should be. And apparently Elon Musk is asking about Fort Knox and the 4,580 tons of US gold that is supposed to be there, but yet we have not had anyone actually audit this since 1974. Rand Paul on X, which he is a senator for Kentucky, says, nope, let's do it. So apparently Fort Knox could be audited soon. And also in the news today, the US and Russia will begin negotiations in Saudi Arabia to end the war in Ukraine. Ukraine and Europe are not invited and will not be asked for their opinion because nothing, quote unquote, depends on them. And many reports are now suggesting that if the US stops delivery of weapons completely, Ukraine will have 2 to 3 months before it completely collapses. But the US has kind of already committed to keeping Ukraine a sovereign territory, but yes, you're probably going to have to give up some ground. From a market's perspective, this gets rid of the uncertainty. It leads to more global peace, and that overall should be a positive for markets. And switching back to Tesla for just a moment, the new Model Y was spotted uncovered in Palo Alto, California. This test vehicle is equipped with the legacy 20-inch induction wheels. And also in the news today, the IRS is expected to fire as many as 15,000 employees as early as next week, according to ABC News. The development comes as unemployment spiked 36% in DC, thanks to Doge. But nothing is truly as strange as the term criminal defense attorney that has skyrocketed in the District of Columbia, which is Washington, D.C., going from 0 in prior months, no cause for concern, to, 100? Like, maxed out on Google Trends? Yeah, there's some serious issues here. Also in the news today, big shocker here, since Doge began discussing mass layoffs, the median home price in Washington, D.C. has fallen by $139,000. In 30 days, nearly 4,000 homes have been listed for sale in and around Washington, DC. As Zero Hedge reports here on X, government recession begins. DC active home listings soar, jobless claims spike as Doge drains the swamp. You can also see here that initial jobless claims have also skyrocketed in the start of 2025. More than tripling the average for 2024. Surely this could lead to more economic pain and, well, really just some weakness around the edges that could cause the Fed to react. It could cause or be a reason for the 10-year Treasury yield already starting to trade lower, and all of a sudden mortgage costs are now cheaper than they have been for several months. And, well, really, it could be a bullish outcome for markets. We'll discuss this more in depth in the next video. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this video. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned to the channel for the video coming out at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. We will be taking a look at what Dan Ives and other hedge fund managers have said on, well, CNBC and Bloomberg in recent days and weeks, suggesting that there is a lot of upside from here for Tesla stock. We also have reports that Apple, as well as Meta, are looking into humanoid robots and could be some competition down the line for Optimus, even though Tesla is days, years, decades, what seems like ahead of their quote-unquote competition. Not to mention, we will discuss the impact of Doge and the weakening in the economy and how that could actually be bullish for especially interest rate sensitive companies like Tesla. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.